It's inevitable as a cyclist that at some point you're going to end up riding in the rain.
I mean, look at it. But some people absolutely love it. They love getting wet, cold and dirty and come back absolutely buzzing.
So it's not all bad then. And over the years, we've learnt some brilliant tips and tricks to help make riding in the cold and the wet that little bit more bearable.
Oh, can it be more bearable?
Let's hope so.
Right, let's start off with the obvious one, a rain cape. A thin waterproof layer that folds up really nicely into your back pocket and is the perfect thing for an emergency when you get caught out when the heavens start open.
A bit like today then. Rain capes are probably the quickest and the easiest way to put an extra layer on, but I was never a huge fan of them, and I think this stems back to when I started racing. They were literally a thick plastic see-through bag that you would put on. They'd flap around in the wind and slow you down, and you would nearly always overheat when wearing them as well.
Yes, but technology has come a long way.
That's true.
And it is an essential item of clothing when heading out in the rain.
Yeah, to be honest, I'd be lost without mine today.
Yeah.
A similar idea to a rain cape is wearing excess layers of clothing to stay warm and dry when it's raining.
Yeah, some kit offers some protective qualities, like for example, a windproof layer. Now this will actually really help you when riding through the rain because it will keep the chill off your skin when ultimately you're going to be riding through some colder air.
There can be a few downsides though. Right now I'm wearing 5 layers of clothing and I can barely move my arms, so I'm lacking a little bit of mobility. And also, if I wasn't wearing this rain cape, my clothes would become saturated, meaning there's nothing else that I can do basically to warm up once they're wet through. So it's great for short rides, but for longer rides, probably not the best idea.
Yeah, you have got a lot of layers on there, mate.
A large percentage of our body heat is lost from our heads, so therefore it makes good sense to put on a thin hat underneath our helmets to try and keep the rain out and the warmth in. If it's a summer's day, then maybe a thin casquette might be good enough, but if it's really coming down and it's cold outside, something with some sort of thermal properties will keep you a lot warmer. If it does start to warm up, it's also really easy just to slip it off and put it in your back pocket. No, this is not some sort of weird cookery program. This is the ultimate way to stay warm and dry in an emergency.
The idea behind these suggestions is to create a protective layer against the elements. But doing it directly on your skin, you will lose breathability through your pores. So you really want to look at this when it's only 5 degrees or under. Vaseline and baby oil can be used as a layer of windproof and waterproofing by smearing it on any part of your body that is bearing the brunt of the elements. Think face, backs of hands and knees. All of these areas that are hitting the wind and rain will benefit from a layer, even over your chest. And then we have cling film, or saran wrap as you may know it. This can be used almost anywhere that your muscles are not contracting and working hard. The reason is you don't want to restrict their movements as that can become uncomfortable.
One of my favourite ways to stay warm or to warm up on a cold, wet day is to actually preheat my drinks and take them with me at the start of the ride.
Yeah, it can be a real treat when you go to take a swig from your bidon and you've got some nice hot tea in there just to warm you up.
Yeah, for about 30 to 35 minutes you'll have a nice warm drink until the liquid cools. This is probably the best method for halfway through the ride though, really, isn't it? If you're feeling cold, you can warm yourself up with a little belly furnace.
Right, I'm going to go and fill up my bidon now.
You know what, Hank, as good as all of these ideas are, I don't want to go out in the rain at all. And I think the ultimate hack to riding in the rain is to not do it.
That's a really good point though, because you could stay inside and do an indoor training session and get a really good quality session in without getting wet and cold. And to be fair, it did take you 25 minutes to get ready, so you'll save some time too.
So far, we've mostly focused on the clothing and the preparation side of riding in the rain, but we're missing out one important detail.
And that is riding in the wet. When riding in the wet, there are loads of different hazards that present themselves compared to riding in the dry. First off, grip. You've got a lot less grip when the surface is slippery and slimy, but also braking. Your braking distances are far more increased when the surface is wet.
So no more pushing it down those descents. Watch out for drain covers, watch out for leaves, and also watch out for rainbow coloured patches of oil on the tarmac. Be more progressive with your inputs to the bike and just take it easy.
So be cautious. After all, we want to stay safe when riding the wet. While it's on the subject of wet surfaces, a top tip is to let some air out your tyres. This will give you more grip and it will let you feel a lot more comfortable when riding through the wet corners.
Whether you're getting wet from above or from below, riding in the rain can be a pretty miserable experience, but use these tips and tricks to get it right and it can be not nearly as bad.
And if you do get caught out, then use it as a good opportunity to practice your wet weather techniques, like cornering and that kind of stuff.
For more tips and tricks, click down here.
And if you did enjoy this video, then give it a big thumbs up.